when you are.
Alright, can I get you guys to either close your eyes or just imagine you're on a football field. You're a wide receiver. If you don't know exactly what that is, you're catching the ball. The quarterback's going to throw you the ball. So the quarterback gets the ball hiked to him, and they see you down the field, you're running, and you wave your hand trying to get his attention. He throws it out to you, and you catch the ball, and you're running towards the end field. Fourth quarter, last 2 minutes. Let's just put that out there. And all of a sudden, you get blindsided by a defensive player, and you're knocked out cold. Just like that. Seeing stars, as most people would say. You can open your eyes now. What I just explained to you was a play-by-play of what happens when a concussion occurs. So a couple months back, we heard about Ray Rice and his violent acts toward his wife in the elevator, which leads me to my thesis, which is there are several possible reasons behind the NFL's bad rap sheet, but the most likely culprit are the continuous concussions they suffer from each day. So I'm a pre-med student, really interested in the medicine side. So learning about the brain and just the process of concussions and what happens is very interesting, so I'm glad I got to do this topic. So I'm going to give you guys 3 points. I'm going to talk about them. First point is going to be what a concussion is, just a little information about it, and its signs, its proper treatments, and then lastly, its effects on NFL players today. So first, let's just talk about what a concussion is. It's a traumatic brain injury, or TBI. We refer to that sometime in speech. When you get hit, your brain is jolted inside the spinal fluid, and it just kind of gets all mixed around in there, and it causes your cells in your brain to get messed up, and also if you just become unbalanced and dizzy. Some signs don't show up right away. They'll come like 2 or 3 hours after. But, I mean, some cases they show up right away and you have to go to the hospital. That's most of the cases. But, for example, USA Football says that a player can get hit and just want to get back in the game. Most football players are like, I'm okay, I'm fine, but probably not the best idea. If you suspect a concussion, you should be pulled out, sit down in a chair, sit on the bench, and just rest for the game, rest for maybe, depending on how bad it is for the season. So now that I talked to you about what a concussion is, I'm going to move on to its prevention and treatments. So USA Football and the NFL have come together to make a prevention called heads-up tackling. If you watch Sunday Night Football, you'll see the players, and before they go off and they take off, they kind of like buzz their feet a little bit. That's just for balance and or after they've been hit, just to get their balance back together. Also, they have certain hip positions, depending on which position you play on the field. They also need to be educated. Before preseason, they should know exactly what a concussion is and its effects, so they know beforehand, so when it does happen. If you've ever heard of a goose egg, sometimes you get that when you get hit. It's pretty big. My friend got one this weekend. It's bleeding inside the skull, and according to WebMD, if you just ice it a couple weeks or so, it should be gone. The American Academy of Neurology set up a 4-step plan, which some of these steps we've already said, but it's a pretty good plan. So first, you remove the player from the game. They need to get evaluated by a physician. Don't go off of your own personal judgment. They need to be informed of how to get back in the game and how the proper ways to treat your concussion. And also, they need to be kept out of play until the physician says it's okay. So lastly, I'm going to talk to you about the effects on NFL players today. So just a quick story. Andre Waters played football. I think he retired in 2001. And he had over 100 tackles and had multiple concussions. But he committed suicide when he was 44, 2 bullets to the head. And when they had his autopsy, they were saying that his brain resembled 85-year-old man with Alzheimer's, which is crazy because he was 44. So that's just one story of the many stories that go on after the effects of concussions. Also, aggressive behavior. According to Dr. Douglas Smith, a professor of neurosurgery and the director of the Center of Brain Injuries and Repairs at University of Pennsylvania, aggression is one of the most common aspects of severe TBI, and he said that at NBC News. Also, when you get hit, you're getting hit in the frontal lobes, which are right here, and that controls your emotion and personality. So that might be a reason why a lot of the NFL players are acting out the way they are. according to the American College of Sports, players that sustained 3 or more concussions were 3 times more likely to develop clinical depression as a player who hasn't. So going back to Andre Waters, clearly something was wrong for him to kill himself. Also, the Congress of Neurological Surgeons says that NFL players are 5 times more likely to develop mild cognitive impairments, which is a condition sort of kind of like Alzheimer's. So I've told you guys about what a concussion is and its signs, its treatments and preventions, and just now the effects on the NFL players today. I hope you learned something from my speech.